Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your heavily caffeinated host, Tony Cañas, switching to my radio voice. Today I have with me Andrew Townsend, Marketing Operations Manager, and Ryan, there's zero chance I'm going to get the last name right, Muir,
You got it. That's it.
Senior Product Marketing Manager, both of them at Smarty. So thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
It's going great, Tony. Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And usually break the ice over the weather, which happens to be gorgeous here in Atlanta finally.
Yeah,
But
nice.
today I will start with my co-host, this beautiful thing that I picked up back in like 2018, 2019 or so at the Smarty booth at InsurTech Connect. And I love that you guys keep doing this
Yeah.
at most conferences that you go to. So, for the listeners, if you go to an InsurTech conference, look for the Smarty booth. Go make yourself a little Lego you. I love the fact that they did literally have a top hat and red suit uh, for me. Okay, so uh, I we always give the guest the chance to give the elevator pitch. What is Smarty?
Yeah, sure. So Smarty is address location intelligence, specifically everything that begins and ends with an address. So for a lot of folks, that's geocoding. We find the exact coordinates of a home or a business suite. We help forms get completed faster with our autocomplete. That's where anytime you're on a website, it suggests the address so it can be done quickly and accurately. And we really do it more accurately than pretty much anybody else around. We pride ourselves on being able to help you increase your revenue, streamline processes, and basically conduct risk analysis and reduce your own risk through the use of addresses and location intelligence.
Okay, so I think that for anybody that's worked in insurance more than 30 minutes, especially if you've spent time in the property side, you have kind of an intuitive understanding of why the address is important. And myself,
Yeah.
I used to be a middle market underwriter. So most of the risks that I underwrote for Liberty had multiple locations. Uh, and yeah, where those locations are is a very important part on the risk that we're taking on. Uh, but you would think that it's very, very easy to convert from an address to an exact geolocation. Uh, was that not the case before Smarty? Like, what was the world like before Smarty when it comes to pinpointing the exact location for that we're insuring?
Yeah, so that was kind of the big eye opener because I came from the PNC space as well, a little bit, and I was a licensed agent myself, and I thought, oh, this immediately has underwriting play, and instantly I see that, but the real tricky part is being able to tie. If you look at a commercial property app, right, there's so many questions you have to ask. There's so many things you need to know for compliance. There's so many things, that you could end up in trouble with either you're on the underwriting side or a DOI or something along those lines, if you don't get it right. And so Smarty really helps you tie in the risk analysis part, the property features, if you will, the risk profile by creating a unique Smarty key that is assigned to the address. So, why do we need a key to assign to an address? Let me use an example that is just down the street from us here at Smarty. There's a street that is a business complex, and the local high school was named after, or had the street named after them for a while. It was Bulldog Boulevard. Then the university bought it, and they turned it into Cougar Boulevard. And then there's the city gave it a numerical thing, which I think is like 1235 North. So really, that address is at least three addresses, maybe more. Your risk analysis data, whether you're using a third-party vendor or creating it yourself, which address is it using? Is it the most accurate address? Are the previous characteristics assigned to that? Maybe, maybe not. And so that's where Smarty comes in, and we say, no, we know every single thing about this address, what its previous names were, where it was located, and we've done the mathematical legwork behind the scenes to find the exact rooftop and not just say a parcel boundary. Oh, it's on this lot somewhere that's, it's maybe 10 acres. Now we know exactly where it is on that 10 acres, and we'll find that position for you. The traditional address doesn't quite get you there. It definitely gets you to a mailbox, but as an underwriter, is the mailbox what you're looking for, or is it the structure?
Okay, so what it comes down to sounds like is addresses were designed to get my mail delivered,
Right.
not to accurately, especially in a large location,
Yeah.
accurately tell me where.
Right. And there's places such as Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where much of that city is on like PO boxes, but there's cabins and resorts and things that are way off there. So the actual delivery point, for example, the actual structure isn't anywhere near where some of those PO boxes are. And that can really, throw a wrench in things as you're going through trying to assess risk.
And if you are choosing to use your primary address data set to be based off of the US Postal Service, yeah, you're going to get, like you said, Tony, you're going to get addresses that are focused on getting mail delivered somewhere. But when
Yep.
it comes to insurance, you are dealing sometimes with homes that aren't built yet, homes that the USPS isn't even thinking about yet. They haven't even thought about sending a truck out there. And there's millions, believe it or not, multiple millions of addresses that the USPS doesn't consider real addresses, and that's where you're going to run into needing third-party vendors, especially, and the insurance industry leans on that the most, I think.
New home construction or new building construction, that makes a ton of sense. Absolutely. All right. How does it integrate into my underwriting system?
Yeah, so Smarty is cloud native. So we work with, raters and, like core systems and things like that, such as, Guidewire, for example. We're partnered with them as well. And we are an API. So API based, you connect that into whatever system you were using at the moment, and then you make calls to our API and we return the data that you're requesting. What we do is especially underwriters are especially interested in geocoding a lot of times, getting that exact coordinate. So we return a geocode. So you plug in an address or a bulk address even, or calling multiple calls per second, things like that. And we return a verified geocode and address that is, accurate down to the rooftop in most cases. So it's pretty easy to set up. One thing you'll find of us on like review sites is Smarty is super easy. We are very transparent in our documentation, and then we also have stellar tech support. You call us, you'll get a human. Like you're not going to jump through a phone tree forever. We make it real easy.
Okay. What is the pricing like? Is it per call, basically per address?
Yeah, so our geocoding and our address verification is per address, which we call a lookup. It's a per lookup that is submitted. And, it has very different tiers on there. There's some where you can get it buy online, and there are some where you can do a custom enterprise deal depending on the size of the addresses you need to run and how many you need to run.
Okay. I'm very curious on the origin story. How did somebody realize that this was a need for insurance?
Yeah, it's been around for a bit, I think. Some of it, some insurance probably back in the day was using the USPS and things. There's Smarty at this point has outpaced like the USPS even a little bit with getting more up-to-date records. But it was a need to assign more risk. You know, you get these hurricanes and these wildfires and things like that, and you don't know how often or how frequently they're going to hit, or the crime situation, or what type of hail situation, storm situation we're going to have. And so, you try to mitigate the risk as much as possible, right? Um, People are something like 70% more willing to act on something if they're going to reduce a risk than if it to get a gain. And so being able to do that, tie risk data to a location is crucial. Um, and it started, Smarty itself, we're about 12 years old now, I want to say, somewhere in there. And it started just in a little town in Utah called Provo. And our founder and CTO and CEO, Jonathan Oliver, started the company, and it's just kind of been booming ever since. Started with little things like address verification, where we clean and standardize every single address in your database, to address autocomplete, where you have the predictive address as you're filling out a form, to now we have geocoding property data, where we have 350 attributes on many US buildings, census data, secondary address data, and much more.
Was it always called Smarty?
Many of our oldest customers will know us as Smarty Streets. So we did eventually drop the streets because we do so much more than just a street. We've gone beyond the realm of that, and it seemed to fit us better just to be Smarty.
The origin of that name is kind of funny too. Our CEO, when he started it, he knew he had to have some sort of a catchy name, and he came up with a whole bunch of names like qualified addresses or standardized addresses or addresses for professionals or something like that. But none of them were that great. And he went home to his mother and he told her a bunch of these names, including Smarty Streets. And then he went home and he's like, Smarty Streets was the dumbest name. There's like, I hate that name. But he went back to see his mom a week later and he said, do you remember any of those names? And she goes, I remember Smarty Streets. And he went, oh, great. Well, if that's what she remembers, then that means other people remember too. And he kept it with Smarty Streets.
That's very much why I was asking, because 12 years is a little bit before the insurtech revolution. And so at that time, most company names in our world were a lot more formal, right? And it's in the last like 8 to 9 years that all of a sudden like every animal is a different insurtech, right? And now
Right.
we have a whole bunch of insurtechs without a vowel, right? But back then, yeah, I would have expected something like
A little more proper, right?
exactly a little more formal. So that's why I was curious. It's I think it's hard to measure kind of the ROI for this type of thing, but any word from the clients on what type of ROI they get from better location.
Yeah, so let me call out kind of a case study that's on our website, actually. You don't have to even give us an email to read this. You can just go on there. But it's with Hippo Insurance, and they use us for pre-builds, basically, geocoding pre-builds. And it's very crucial that they get that exact lot plotted, not just down to the parcel, right? We don't want just the box there around a lot. We want to get the building. And so they use us, yeah, to find that exact structure. They have done the research to find out, what risk factors are there for them. And by taking that geocode and the Smarty key, which we can talk about Smarty key too, but taking that Smarty key and attaching all their other risk data to it, they're able to run risk models that have substantially improved their their ability to produce, reduce loss ratios and increase the amount of premium they get to retain.
Okay,
Uh,
so you mentioned Smarty Key earlier, but
yeah,
how is Smarty Key special, different than just an address?
yeah. Let's talk about that. So first, we get you your coordinates, right? And then we assign that to the Smarty key. Now, Smarty key is really about data blending. So an insurtech is going to have crime, weather, risk data. They're going to have historical data based on their experiences, all of this that they have probably assigned to an address at this point, right? An insured comes in and says, "Hey, I need a quote and they'll say, okay, well, let us look, and they'll create, through their formulas, create a risk profile for that particular bit of business. Well, Smarty
A
Key,
business, for example, at 1432 Bulldog Boulevard may be on
yes,
their thing.
yeah. So that business's address at 1432 Bulldog, right? That comes in, they need to assign all that risk accurately to that. So Smarty Key knows every single address, every like misspelling, if you will, even for it, or um, abbreviation for it. So you assign the risk now, the risk analysis data to Smarty Key instead of the address. And that's really where the cream comes in because now you can run that risk model repeatedly and know you're getting the right data assigned to the right address. And it just blends the insured's information, the risk vendor information in such a way that carriers and reinsurers even can really get the best bang for their buck and reduce their loss ratios by producing premiums that are going to deliver a positive ROI for them.
All without worrying about mistyped things, misrecorded things, aliases, Bulldog versus Cougar versus 1200. All of this tied to one persistent and unique identifier, Smarty Key.
And that's the thing. It never changes. It will stay the same regardless of we had one address that changed something like 30 times, I think, somewhere in the US. Like they change so often and people don't know it. We've had one that is claimed in Utah, we have one that's claimed by Salt Lake County and one that's claimed by Tooele County. But we know where it actually belongs by using Smarty Key. And so helping you get the exact location, it's a lot harder than it sounds, but we can help you with that.
All right, all right. Looking at the website, uh, it talks about the free trial. So you can get a
Yeah.
42-day free trial of address verification and validation. No credit card info required. I was gonna ask you why 42, and then the very next question on the frequently asked questions, why did Smarty choose a 42-day trial instead of a typical 30? Because 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
It
Uh,
is.
I love the fact that a strong reference to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy
Yes.
is still 12 years in the frequently asked questions. So that's fantastic.
We try
Uh,
to keep our website full of Easter eggs like that. In our documentation, if you're actually worried about implementation, when it talks about finding the geocode for an address that may have been wiped out or eliminated by a hurricane or something, it mentions Alderaan from Star Wars. We know where it was, whether it's there now or not. We know where it was.
Yeah. So Smarty, geocoding for nerds by nerds.
yes.
Super important in the PNC insurance industry.
You will find those Easter eggs all over. Our legal page is completely dedicated to, Harry Potter references pretty much. There's something on every single page. We like to have fun, like work hard, play hard is a very big mentality around here.
That is
If we
fantastic.
have
It
to
speaks
write
to
it, we
company
need
culture.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. If I have to write something, I'm not going to write something I don't want to write. I'll write something fun, and then also make sure I get across the information you need.
Yeah, we try to see people as people, right? Like you're not just another ticket here at Smarty. Like we actually that's one of our core values. It's called outwardness, and we really try to see each person on their own journey, they have their own needs and objectives for their own business, and each, interdepartmentally even we try to focus on seeing people as people and making sure that we're taking care of people and serving them.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Guys, thank you so much for your time. It's been very interesting to learn more about why geolocation is important and the different addresses for this.
It
Like an
was
address that changed 30 times. That is insane. Uh,
it's, yeah.
absolutely insane. Uh, very cool, very cool. Anything, and I hesitate asking this to a 12-year old company, but anything new that is launching 2025 that you're excited about, you can already talk about.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. So we do have parcel boundaries coming out. So we'll be able to identify the exact parcel that a business is located on. That should be late Q1, early Q2. Again, being able to measure distance to coast, distance to wildfire risk, things of that nature, that will be instrumental for insurance companies in that regard. We've just recently, within the past month or so, done some changes to our international geocoding. So you're working policies in Canada, working policies in the UK, Australia. We've done a lot. We're in 250 countries right now, and territories, I should say, as well. So we've enhanced that. And we have another one, which is like the shape files coming soon as well. So shape files meaning the actual shape of the parcel and things like that. So
There's
those are
some
kind of
really
our big ones.
exciting other things that are possible that may not be a part of our product library. And I'll try to explain it, and then Ryan will use real words. So, for example, if you have a bunch of data about like fault lines, and you can marry that fault line information with Smarty's tools very quickly, very easily, and then instantly get a distance to blank, distance to fault line, distance to water source, distance to blank for any address near instantly, as long as you have your risky area data. We watched someone, in fact, we watched somebody do this, and they put it together in like 2 days, and suddenly had this brilliant way of saying, "I'm going to type in this address, and it's going to tell me where the 5 closest fault lines are, or water sources, or any of these sort of risk analysis items," and they did it very quickly.
And to Andrew's point, it's down to the coordinate level as well that we are accurate with that. So really, our story is one of helping you connect risk to an address for better accuracy. And we're gonna continue to find ways we can tie things to coordinates to an address, make your lives easier from, improving loss ratios, improving NPS, things like that, reducing what you're paying out on claims, reducing fraud by using accurate address data. That's where we're innovating right now.
And we know that there are other tools that have been around for a while, years, that have built into these really big, complex tech stacks. And a part of the offering that we're trying to provide is by having almost a one-stop shop, like a location where you can, a business where you can get everything at an affordable rate without having to have a 6 or 7 deep company tech stack, that you can get all of this information, property, financial, address, geocoding, Smarty Key, all of this in just one spot, and trust it.
Yeah. So a lot of times companies will have 3 or 4 address providers. We're saying put us at the top and you'll have fewer addresses go through to the next API and so on, because we'll be able to have a higher match rate for you. We've had there's a Curitas company website that's healthcare, but they had a 15% reduction in address errors by switching over to Smarty, which that can be pretty substantial. I mean, depending on how many millions of addresses you've probably got in your database as a carrier, right? Like that's 15% is fairly large, especially if you're running millions and millions over a weekend, trying to make sure that you're seeing a risk model that works for you.
All right. Right. Thank you so much for your time. When this goes live, I will tag both of you and the company on LinkedIn. And looking forward to see Smarty out in the road this year.
Yeah.
As I hit the conferences. For the listeners, go check out the website and go get your own little Lego guy. The variety is amazing.
Yeah, come find us. We'll be at 4 shows this year. So
yeah, it's always a fun booth.
it is.
Like you guys are fun.
Thank you. We try our best.
Thank you.